Okay, so now what we're going to be covering in this video is part two, which is beginning a game. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go in and actually define some variables and constants that we're going to be using throughout the game. So the first thing we need to do is we want to go ahead and define a list of words. And that's going to be an array. So what we're going to include in here is just the list of words that will be included in the game. So we'll add Swift, we'll go ahead and add Apple, we'll go ahead and add programmer, we will go ahead and add bug, and we will go ahead and add compile, and we will go ahead and add error. Okay, so that's our list of words. So what we need to do is we need to define a constant, and that constant will contain the number of incorrect guesses or moves allowed by the user. So we'll set let equals to incorrect moves allowed, and that will equal 7. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to define a couple variables. The first one is going to hold the total wins, which we will be showing in the lower label. And we're going to initialize that to 0. And then we're going to go ahead and initialize total losses equal to 0. So the next thing we're going to do is when the view did load, that is where we're actually going to define a new round for the game. So I'm going to go ahead and define a function. It's going to be called new round. And we're not going to pass anything into it, and we're not going to return anything. And what we're going to do is we're going to call that from our viewDidLoad method. Okay, so we've added that. So the next thing we're going to do in order to keep track of the actual state of the game, we're going to create a game struct. So in order to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I have my AplePie directory selected, and then I will go ahead, right click on new file, and select Swift file, and the name of the file is going to be the name of our struct, which is game. So we will go ahead and create that. That should be underneath the AplePie directory. So what we're going to do is we're going to build up the struct for our actual game or the state of it. So what we need to do is we need to go ahead and type in the keyword struct and then game. And let me add some spacing in there. And what we're going to have is we're going to have a var that's going to hold the current word that the user will be trying to guess. And then we'll go ahead and set up a var for incorrect moves remaining, and that will be an int. Okay, so we've created that. So what we need to do is we need to go back into our view controller, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set up a var, which we're going to create a new instance of a game. So we're going to create a property that holds the current game's value so that it can be updated throughout the view controller's code. So what we're going to do according to the book, we're going to go ahead and create a current game, and we will go ahead and set that equal to game. And what we get is we actually get an error here. So I think there might be something wrong with the book. So let's go ahead and so that's not allowed. So What I'm going to do is I think what we need to do is we actually need to create an instance of our game. So let me just go ahead and select that. Okay, so let's try this one more time here. And what we're going to put in for our string is an empty string. And what we're going to put in for our int is going to be the actual incorrect moves remaining. And I will just specify a 0 for that. So now in our new game, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set let word new word equal to list of words, remove first. And what that's going to do is that's just going to remove the first word in the array once an actual new game begins. And then we're going to set our current game equal to our game. And what I need to do here is I need to go ahead and set our string equal to new word. And I have to set the next one to incorrect moves allowed. Okay, so we've updated that. So what we need to do is we need to go ahead and specify the code to update the interface to reflect a new game. So we're going to create a separate method called update UI. So let me just go down below here. It's going to be update UI. We're not passing anything in and it's not returning anything. So we're going to call the update UI from our new round. And then down below in our update UI, we're going to set our score label.text. That'll be equal to our wins. And that's what we're keeping track of in our total wins variable. And then we're going to go ahead and set our losses equal to total losses. And then we need to update our tree image view. And what we're going to set that equal, and that'll be our dot image. And we're going to set that equal to a UI image. And what we need to do is we need to pass in named, which will be our string, and that will be tree. And then we're going to pass in the current game and the number of incorrect moves remaining. Okay, so what that'll do is tree image view. What do I have here? Oh, I have to make sure I spell things right, so I need to change that to image for the image. And again, I spelled that wrong. I gotta get rid of the A. So there we go. So now we have our tree view image. So I'm gonna go ahead and run it and see what things look like. It looks like our tree is showing the 7 apples, and our wins and losses are equal to 0. So what we're going to do next is, in part 3, we're going to update the game state.